So welcome everyone. And today, what I'm really excited about is we're joined by Bodalia, which I'm so excited to hear. We're here in King's Cross, live, audience listening. Can we get a little woo? Love it, amazing. So we're going to start with a question that I find the hardest to answer. And that question is, so what do you do?
That is the hardest question. Firstly, thank you for having me.
That's okay. Welcome.
Thank you. I would say my name is Kishan, or Bodalia. Bodalia is my surname. I chose that as my DJ name because I had to quickly come up with a DJ name. I couldn't think of anything cooler. I'll tell you about that later. Mm-hmm. But I am a doctor by day. I work mostly in emergency. I'm going into GP training to become a GP. And I'm also a DJ. I also produce music. I'm an investor, huge mental health advocate. I do a lot of charity work as well. And I have a lot of other passions outside of those things, like seeing my friends, exercise, started salsa. Yeah, best decision I've made all year.
Do you know they do salsa here every week?
Do they?
Yeah, outside. It's the dream.
I'm not that good yet. I'm on week 6. That's who I am.
So that is exactly what I wanted you to say, is something other than what we feel like we're defined by. But what we're going to do is we're going to start part 1 and we're just going to touch upon you being an NHS doctor.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? What is it that you enjoy about medicine as a career? Tell me more.
I couldn't ever see myself being anything other than a doctor. My dad's a doctor. He was the first doctor in my family. And he's always been my role model. There was no pressure for me to be one. Maybe it was like subconscious pressure because I saw him being a doctor and I thought it was cool. But that's honestly the reason. I saw him helping people. I saw him being passionate about what he does. And yeah, it fully aligned with who I was. I love meeting people. I love helping people. So that's why I became a doctor. And as time has gone on, when people ask me, would you rather be a doctor or a DJ? The truth is, being a doctor is who I feel I am. Okay. At that moment of, serving someone, helping someone, not expecting anything back is, for me, the most powerful feeling. So that's what I love most about being a doctor.
But it must be pretty hard, though.
Yeah.
Juggling both, even in switching from one to the other as well. Do you find then unwinding, the DJing then becomes this moment of kind of relaxing or another area to be creative? Because I guess you can't really have your phone out when you're out on the wards and you have to be very in it when you're there. And it's quite all-encompassing, right?
Yeah, the work is unpredictable. That's the best way of putting it, especially because I graduated as a doctor maybe 4 or 5 months before COVID. So I was as junior as they came. And when COVID came, I was on respiratory wards dealing with the first COVID patients. And it was chaos and, emotionally and physically demanding. But yeah, it's unpredictable, but you get comfortable being put in uncomfortable situations and you learn to embrace the challenges. And those challenges that I felt were tough then, I still have challenges today, but I'm better at dealing with those relative challenges. And then the music fits in because for me, I'm sure everyone here as well, music matches every part of your life. If you're happy, you're sad, you're exercising, you're cooking, you're in the shower, music is the soundtrack to what I do. So it's always going to be there. I don't need to be DJing necessarily. Just listening to music is enough.
Yeah, because it's so interesting you said that, because another guest actually said about music and hospital radio, even how important that is, just lighting up patients' day when you have a track played. And I think it's such a beautiful thing when you can blend, the way we can connect over music is so beautiful. And it's so nice as well that you have multiple interests that you've then explored and kind of taken professionally. And is that something you ever thought that you'd be doing now? If kind of 8-year-old you or 10-year-old you was would they ever think that you'd be doing this?
No. And it's interesting you asked that, because when you're kind of in the sort of rat race of trying to grow, you forget where you were 5 years ago and that where you are now is where you sort of dreamt you would be. Wherever that makes, and I'm sure you can relate to that. But when I was growing up, I always wanted to do something in music, but I couldn't figure out what. I was learning the piano. I'd try and write songs, and they're really bad. I would email. I loved James Blunt when I was growing up, and I bought his piano book and learned how to play his songs. Oh, cool. And then in the piano book, I saw the name of the songwriter. So rather than emailing James Blunt, who would never reply, I emailed the third songwriter on the list. And he replied, I was 12.
No way.
And he was like, yeah, send me your music. I got it. And then I emailed his agent and he replied personally. Maybe he just felt sorry for me being a child. I don't know. But then I got locked out of my Hotmail.
No. What could have been?
What could have been, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that from early days.
Yeah,
so
early.
you were blending them both.
I wanted to do something in music, and I wanted to like find a way of maybe performing or maybe expressing myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make music, and that's where it started. I was in bands. My friends had a home studio, and I thought I need to start building a studio, and that's where it all sparked.
Oh my gosh, wow! So then you went into the tradition of like NHS doctor. Yeah. Is it because of kind of finding your way in the world of like, okay, I need to go into a career? How did that happen? Or was it like, go for it? Did you try and go for it at that point?
The music part?
Yeah.
I think having a 9-to-5 job, even being a doctor isn't a 9-to-5. Like yesterday it was supposed to be 9-to-5, but it was actually 9 to 8:30. That's the reality of it. I think having something that I could almost like work towards and guarantee a result was the reason why being a doctor or having a 9-to-5 is good. Like you can rely on a career like that. Yeah. And the music I knew was always going to be a passion of mine. And although my parents didn't push me into being a doctor, they said I could do whatever I like. They did say, look, you need something stable so that you can then, do other things and enjoy them on the side.
I totally get that. I feel like this is something I did want to really like chat to you about in general. Like, have you ever felt pressure, not necessarily from your family, but from society or culture in general of doing, say, a traditional route?
I didn't actually feel that for a long time.
Okay.
My family I think my mum and dad shielded me from those cultural expectations. And it's as I've got older, I've realized how people say, like, it's amazing you're doing that. My parents wouldn't let me even like consider that as an option. So I think I was lucky in that regard.
I think if anything, you've become the representation for the other people though. Those people that are 10 years, say, behind you, even 5 years, have the confidence now. They see you doing too. And in a way, it's like evidence and proof of like you can do both and explore everything that you want to do without anyone being like, oh, but that's not stable. You're not going to necessarily get a monthly payroll.
And it's a balance as well. So on some weeks, it might be majority doctor stuff if it's a busy week, and the DJing and music might be like 10% of my calendar, but other weeks it goes up. So I think in the early years I was more geared towards academic side, so I could guarantee that route and get through medical school. And to be honest, I got distracted a lot. Like I messed up exams at school and my dad would have to be like, look, you got to put your decks away, your keyboard away. Oh, it was so sad. At the end of summer I had to put my keyboard away. That's what I was making. Every summer. I forgot about that. So there was some discipline. It wasn't. There was discipline. Yeah.
And I feel like that's natural as well because they want you to do well in your life. And I think that's the thing that I realized. It took me a long time because they were like pushing me down the legal route or anything traditional in terms of dentistry, doctor, like finance as well. And I realized it came out of a kind of this survive versus thrive mentality. Just that my parents came over and had to deal with just making enough money for the next month or whatever, and building your way up. And for them, they didn't have that opportunity to pick a career in a way. It was like, just do what makes money. And I get that now, but do you know when it's really hard to understand at that point that it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like me and my brother were like, no, like we're not doing tradition. If anything, it actually forced us the other way. And me and my brother are now entrepreneurs and doing anything but. But it's really important to actually look back and realize that it wasn't for a bad reason.
It all came from a good place of stability, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. It all comes from this.
I guess it also comes down to how your parents or family communicate why you're doing something. Yeah. So you don't want to feel that you have to do this because it's the only option and you want to do something else. Yeah. It has to be put together as like a package and as a journey. And it's a balance to going through life. So you need this at this point in life. You need to do this to get to this point. And then you can enjoy these things more. But you can still have them along the side. But you have to be disciplined and
it's true because it's like, do you know when someone tells you not to do something? Then you're like, well, I'm going to do it. Like,
you made me think that maybe my parents were just smooth in how they made me believe I wanted to be a doctor. Maybe I didn't. Maybe they were slowly like bringing you in. They knew what they were doing.
It's like one of our friends, like he wasn't allowed to have any soft drinks for his life, and then as soon as he got to uni, banging soft drinks, just soft drink after soft drink, Diet Coke, like addiction basically, because you go the other way when you're kind of forced into a route and you want to rebel, like at that point in our lives as well, when you're like going
freedom.
through it's freedom, it's like exciting, isn't it?